What's your first job, man? I want to know, youngster.
We're talking first jobs today?
Yeah, you buddy, old pal.
Okay, my first job. Well, let's see. Okay, that would be in 2008.
How old were you?
I was 18. I was just graduated from high school, and there was this guy that I knew through my dad. He had learned martial arts through my dad, and he was this Afro-Latino dude who.
Just like you.
Just like me, exactly like me, and not quite as good looking as me, but like me otherwise. And he owned a store down at Fisherman's Wharf area, a touristy place called International Spy Service.
Oh, okay.
And they sold gadgets, right? Like the CIA or FBI would use like hearing devices where you can hear somebody from 200 yards and that kind of stuff, right?
Like mini cameras and
and I've always been into that stuff. Like I always had this fantasy that I'd be like some international
Sherlock
agent,
Holmes.
spy, like uncovering the truth in the world kind of a
Austin
person.
Powers.
Yeah, but like really high tech, right? So he recommended this book to me called Ninja Mind Techniques. I really like.
Because ninjas are
Ninjas
spies.
are spies, right?
Yeah.
And I liked it. And then he was like, I could get you a job.
So he offered you a job?
He offered me a job, yeah. He liked me for some reason. And so I went to work there. And I really liked that job. It was cool. I liked all the little gadgets and everything. Found out a lot about that stuff. And then I found out one little side service they offered is to look into whether or not people had cheated on their spouses. Right? Classic.
How do they do
Classic
this?
agent stuff. People knew it was a place they could ask for, and people would come in, they'd even bring their kids in with them. Almost always guys, like 9 out of 10 guys would ask if their wives are cheating on them, not vice versa. Even holding their kids' hand, they'd be like, hey, can you find it?
And the kids are just like with a lollipop.
I hope so. I hope they weren't old enough to know what was going on, right? And they'd be like, yeah, we can do that for you. And they'd look into it.
How would they do it? With like a GPS tracker?
GPS tracker. They would, track movements, and they did a really weird thing, which is if they had to, which was they'd tell the guy to get a pair of her panties and bring them in, and they'd do a DNA test, and that way they could tell if there was somebody other than her and her husband's DNA in the panties. It was pretty hardcore.
And how many times
Almost always they were cheating. They were almost always cheating. Yeah, if they were suspected, they were always cheating. I saw so many marriages get ruined because of service.
What kind of job is this?
It's classic cop stuff. It's like film noir, right? Like I think my husband and wife is cheating on me.
Detective.
That was my first job. I had that job for about 6 months. It was a good job.
What else did you learn? Did you learn how to like pick locks?
Before that, I kind of had a job. It was called being a criminal and stealing things and all that. Yeah, and I think we've even covered some of that, like some of the stuff I stole at school once. But they taught me how to pick locks even better than I could already, which was a little side benefit of that.
I know you're Colombian. Did you know that they had an international lock picking contest and a Colombian came in first?
Yeah, I sure. I know all about that. Yeah. Represent. Yeah. Number one.
Man, my first job back in the 70s, I think, right? Something like that.
The summer in between your sophomore and junior year.
Okay. How do you know so much about me? Before your time, buckaroo. But yeah, so my father was a minister, and we never had a lot of money, but my father was good at managing his money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was unable to ever get a job again because he tried to help Angela Davidson. He tried to support her with her court case, and then he got blackballed.
Marin County shootout?
Yeah.
I know about that.
And when he got blackballed, it was tough for him to find a job, but he was good with the money, so he had enough money to buy a new house. And he bought a house in Marin City.
Mill Valley.
Yeah, that dog doesn't like civil rights.
He bought a house in Mill Valley.
Exactly, and he bought a house in Mill Valley.
Oh yeah.
So I had to help my parents out because my dad didn't have a job at the time, and so I ended up getting a job. I did some paper routes, but nothing substantial.
Yeah.
I got a job at Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors?
Yeah, 31 years. It's been around a long time. And so I still got the strength in my arm. It's not from
The
masturbation.
muscle,
Yeah.
the scoop muscle?
Yeah, from
It's not for
scooping so much.
masturbation?
No, it's not.
Really?
You're funny.
Okay.
We couldn't
Partly.
back in the day, they told us we would go blind if we did that. So,
Oh, yeah?
You know, that's a new thing.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Okay. So yeah, I hated the job because the owner was this weird creepo who was like on some pedophile stuff, getting at young women and all that. So I hated him. I hated the job. I just didn't like it. And he would make.
How long did you work there?
I worked there for a while, and he would actually make the ice cream harder than it was supposed to be, so that we couldn't give people the proper amount of scoops.
Oh wow! So
he was a
couldn't dig
cheapskate.
in.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he was a horrible person, and I ended up quitting. I just couldn't do it anymore. I quit, and when I quit, the place happened to burn down, and everybody thought it was me.
Oh yeah, of course. I could see you doing that.
And oh my gosh, and I mean, you look more like a person who would do that. With that, you look like an
Not
arsonist.
like this though. Look, see, now I look like just
substitute
like
teacher.
a nice guy.
And so yeah, he ended up being the one who did it.
Oh, he burned his own place down.
Yeah, for insurance money.
Oh, they caught him.
He was that's what kind of fucking guy he was. That was my first job.
It's a good job. What did you do with the money you made?
Gave it to my parents.
You know, you're nicer than you look.
Yeah, I bought some weed too.
Sold it, more like it.